In fact, if ever there was a game to test out the efficacy of something like that, it would happen now, but I guess we'll see. As the numbers tick down, our bronze medal match is about to begin. Team Chua on the north with Carl, Joshua and Califabop fight it out against Nephrums, Derek McIntyre and Anti-Elites for hopefully third place in this tournament. Both teams have unfortunately been kicked out. We do have a grand final ahead of us in a couple days' time, and this is to establish one final win for either of these two Goliath teams. So you'd love to see it. Welcome in everyone, my name's Ghosty. If you have any questions about the game mode, when this goes up onto YouTube, please feel free to pop a question into chat. I'm slowly but surely trying to get back to every single person, and if you have any questions about the game mode, please pop them in there. I've got a beginner series I'm working on as we speak, which should be going up onto the channel very, very soon. As I zoom out and look at the map, it's taken a while for us to kind of roll and pick and veto certain maps here, and this is what we landed upon. We have a large amount of stone, a really generous amount of iron, a really super healthy amount of coal, and a lovely, lovely trifecta of copper patches here in this main base. We're not wanting for any opening resources, and there are a couple of small patches to the east and to the west, like for instance here, this coal patch and this iron patch, that we could subsume into our build and pull more resources in to create a larger machine that will do things for us. For any of you new to the game mode, I like to draw on the screen every now and again. It helps me illustrate my point a little better. So we have a choice at the beginning of the game of where we're going to eyeball out where we build our base. And either team now have a chance to build either to the east or to the west. We'll keep our eyes open for that. There are merits to doing one or the other. I'd probably say east is slightly weighted against because you might want to grab these patches, so probably to the west, but we'll have to wait and see, you know. The other question we also have in our mind here is that we know that the south team of Anti-Elites, Derek and Nephrums can go the distance and play very quickly into a late game, and they got into the semi-finals off the back of stabilizing a game where they were spammed military signs and almost caved into the pressure that was building on their side. So I wonder if Team Chua on the north may have a bit of a trick player, maybe have an ace up their sleeve in order to kind of give them a minor advantage, maybe to wobble the ground of the south a little bit and destabilize their speed, because as we know, and the north aren't slow, but as we know, the south have got some incredibly fast players in their team, and they've demonstrated that throughout this entire tournament. You know, there have been minor mistakes, but nothing really major, nothing to really write home about, stuff that we would all do under pressure and stress. You know, these guys will play for about an hour, sometimes an hour and a half, and the minor misinput, a minor misplacement, a minor miscalculation, it takes a second off your timing, and if you do 3 or 4 of them in the case of a minute or two, you know, after 10 minutes or 20 minutes, you're just a little bit behind the curve compared to your other team on the north or the south, who are moving rapidly at speed towards a direction that they've chosen to win the game effectively. So yeah, I think military signs could come into play here, or potentially both teams could just have a gentleman's agreement and just go, you're quick, we're quick, let's throw a little bit of like military, because that comes into play naturally throughout this tournament, but we're not going to focus too hard on it. Our job is to go to military fast, transition to blue, and then hopefully with our speed of play and getting all the resources we need, transition to a late game and end game winning idea. So yellow seems to be the strongest version at the moment in this game. If you can build around about 800 yellow jugs, around about the 60-minute mark, anywhere between the 60-minute mark and the 70-minute mark, it tends to be a solid signifier that you are well in control of winning that game. We also noted as well that if you can get military signs built, so what I mean by that is having a full line of automated assemblers making your military signs rather than you hand making it or grabbing the items and hand feeding it, you are stabilizing your map, or maybe even destabilizing the enemy map to a point where they will not be able to progress at the speed you want. So a very important thing that we need to keep tabs of is when we get our first science jug built, how many are produced, how many are consumed, and how many are sent. And so this page here will become vital in explaining the game as to who is ahead and who is behind. At the moment, we've just begun, and because we have nothing automated, we have a load of these burner cities going down, so these stone furnaces with these burner mining drills. If we put them onto an ore patch and feed them both coal, they will pull up the ore, throw it into the furnace will smelt it, and then we can hand make. There we go. All right, let's pull up the crafting list. This is quite an interesting one. Somebody should be working on labs, or at least science. Here we go. This is a good indicator. I love this UI, by the way. We haven't had this. So we have had this for a little bit of time, but we haven't had this for too long. I love little windows like this. think I can. So Guava has just banned the word jug, which we can definitely do. Flask, cask. Yeah, I think I can get around that a little bit. But Fennec has just come up with a really good point. Steep theory. What lost Derek's team the game against the top team was a bad day on Derek's part. I've watched the VOD back once, and although it's never on one person's shoulders, there is a lot of responsibility on our main base builder. Typically, on a team of 3, you only really have one person that can build the base up. So for instance, in the south, that will be Derek. Nephrons is playing support, and Anti-Elites is playing our threat farmer kind of flex position. At the beginning of the game, we need to kind of very quickly get up to speed through our early researches and get into a position where we can either build and send military signs, or get our oil up and transition towards blue and then beyond. So north are going for logistics, fast inserters, military, logi, military, fast inserters, green jugs, steel, and stone walls. And the south are going for logi, gun turrets, fast inserters, radars, green, and steel processing. So yeah, I mean, it's very standard issue. We don't get a lot of options. There are some wrong choices you can make at the beginning of the game that slow you down. But very much like chess, in the opening few moves of chess, there are kind of good lines to take, strong lines to take. And again, we're not throwing shade on main base builders. It's such a hard job. It's such a hard role to do. In a 3v3 tournament, it is your job to solely build up an enormous amount of smelting and production. And kind of, no matter what the pressure is on your side, is to force the team through that pressure and onto the late game and into the late game. So yeah, all losing teams, unfortunately, the main base builder takes a huge amount of that responsibility, because sometimes you need to go and defend because the enemy bugs are coming, your bugs are coming directly at you, and you have to take your time away from building. And every 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds away from building up that main base, or away from progressing your labs or building up the next level of tier of signs, you are having to defend your base for obvious reasons. The reason why we exist in this mode at all is to defend our rocket silo. This is our main objective. If the bugs at any point on your side of the map, so on the north, they'll come from the north, as we can see here, a couple of bugs trickle into our base. If any of them manage to land on our rocket silo and kill it off, we have lost the game. So our job initially is to protect this at all costs and hope that we can tech up and build up a base that's strong enough, that has good enough technology, and that gives us access to items that will help us continue to defend and also progress through the different tiers of signs. So at the beginning, we only have access to red. Very soon, we should see red and green, and then eventually red-green military, up into blue, and then one of these two. One of these two seems to be a win condition at the moment, either our production signs or our utility signs. So yeah, and purple hasn't featured for a while, guys. Purple has been slightly absent from our kind of eyeballs, so it'd be interesting to see which way. So what the South are doing at the moment, they're centralizing some iron production. And what this will give us, once they kind of finish this build off and then create a couple of assembly machines off the back of it, what they'll give us here is a mini mall that will produce basic items like belts, like gears. I still think I can do it. Umror has now banned the word science. I might need to stop this incentive for the actual final itself, guys, because you literally would trip me up. But I think we can do that for now. I think for this game, I think that's something that we can achieve. For anybody watching on YouTube, this is live on Twitch. This will go up as a VOD. However, there are people currently banning words in my chat. I think I can navigate this relatively well. We shall see, however, we shall see. And I don't think I can do that the entire game. So let's put like a timer on this. Let's put about 15 minutes. I think that's acceptable, right? That's a good enough challenge to make it happen. So I just want to read those two words out. Jug and science. They're the two banned words for me, for now at least. So at the beginning of the game, we need some smelting and we need to create some basic items. At the middle of the south space, they're going to do this through this minor smelting setup. Their main smelting array has yet to be put down. Meanwhile, the north have forgone that initial centralized smelting and have just built up a larger smelting block that will eventually convert into a main base build. So from here, we will see multiple smelting lines go down, and then off the back of that, we'll have labs. So we want to feed as many resources as we can into this large amount of smelting. Those smelting blocks will go down here and start stacking up on top of each other. So one for stone, one for iron, one for copper, etc, etc, etc. And off the back of that, we'll kick out a load of plates that will build more intermediary items, and then we go up and up and up and up through the tech tree until we get to a point which we're happy with. At the beginning of the game, we have access to very little, and so even getting a single smelting line like this down is very powerful for your team. It's another job you don't have to do. You don't have to kind of come back to this smelter, this burner city, and grab all these plates. All you have to do is chuck in some raw resources, power it up obviously, and power is really important. The last couple of games, power has been pivotal. And going back to the reason why Derek's team unfortunately did lose the last game, from my understanding, and I will be doing some breakdowns of those games, so keep your eyes out for some of those videos being posted, or for those streams happening, it was that power was sat at yellow for far too long. So they almost were driving at full speed, but had the handbrake on a little bit. Like, they were motoring. They had a really good build on the south. However, that power always being sitting around the yellow mark, so just underneath where you'd want it to be as green, they weren't fully satiating their power needs, and unfortunately the team that beat them had a large power block. And this is interesting. Already we can see the north are building east to west, right to left, and the south are building left to right. Now, the map is exactly the same for both teams. As you can see, there's a large river in the middle of this map, and every single ore patch is reflected through the river. So there's no advantage of going of one side to the other. It's about how you organize your thoughts, how you organize your strategy, and how you organize your play that will dictate whether you have a good opening phase of the game or a bad one. Now, what would define a good opening phase of the game? Well, for me, it's about getting your smelting down as fast as possible. So this is really nice. It's down super fast. It will turn on very quickly once we get a bit of coal fed into here, which we're doing through boxes and inserters. We have a mini mall up that we can create other items off the back of. So this is really nice. We love to see this because, again, we can just grab from these boxes and continue to expand on this build. And also we're negating any pressure coming from the bugs. The pressure isn't massive at the moment. At the beginning of the game, the bugs are only about 1 to 2% evolved. The percentage evolution, effectively, the way I'd look at this as a new player or somebody new to Biter Battles is, think of the evolution percent as strength. At the moment, they are 2% strength, meaning that they're very, very weak. And the threat, the number next to that strength, is how many bugs there are on the map at any given time. This threat of 100 doesn't mean that you're going to get 100 bugs running at you straight away, but it means that at any given point, some bugs, just like we see here on the south, will appear at your base, and it's a problem you have to deal with. And over time, the bugs will naturally become a little stronger, and the enemy team can strengthen them by sending some of these coloured flasks here. Flasks, I think, is okay. These coloured flasks of technology, these tech flasks, and they can pump the numbers up of the bugs through different ways over the course of the game. So if we send the most basic flask, it does a small amount of mutation. It strengthens the bug a small amount. However, if we go up the levels to level 2 or level 3 or level 4 or level 5 or 6, it will mutate and strengthen the bugs even harder, even faster, and it will make more of them. So what we'd like to do in an ideal world is have a really amazing defense of our own base so that we can never lose, the bugs can never break in, and we want to send the highest level of technology at our enemy so that the bugs become so strong that their defenses crumble. But at the beginning of the game, obviously, it's not going to be super hard. The bugs are very manageable, and with a pistol, with a grenade, with a shotgun, with an assault rifle, with no upgrades at all, just a simple, gun and some bullets or a grenade later on, they are manageable. They're not a problem. If they start to get pushed, and we're moving towards that pressure side of the game, because around about the 17 minutes to the 20-minute mark, if some spam is to happen, that is when it will happen. Then we will see one side maybe get destabilized off of what we've known over the course of this tournament as a pressure trap. It is pressurizing the enemy side of the map and trapping them in a defensive loop where they can no longer build their base up as much as they want to, because the bugs will begin to rain down upon them, so much so that they need to dedicate more than just one person's defensive effort to deal with the bugs. However, it's the beginning of the game. Pipes for walls, that's great. Normal walls, again, very useful. Stone furnaces later on in the game will be used for defensive, walls effectively. We've seen this happen throughout the entire tournament. So far, I really like what the South are doing here. They have their centralized smelting. They have their items being built up into boxes. A couple of hundred of belts can be grabbed at any given time, and that will help them build out their base. Derek is very fast, obviously. So, this base will not take long to start taking shape from here. We need to see some labs go down, and the first two levels of technology, meaning our red and our green flasks, will be created. So the teams at the moment are pretty much neck and neck. They have their chip building, they have a little bit of smelting going, they're adding on those extra smelting columns coming in, meaning they can put more items down the belts and more items can be fed into these buildings, meaning that their machine This machinery they're making will turn on and start activating for them faster than if they were to be a minute slower to this. So we're basically at the same point here. 14 minutes in, two different design philosophies. One's building to the left, one's building to the right. Honestly, I don't see an inherent negative to building either way. I guess if you're building to the right, you could assume this oil, it's a little closer to your base. Although you're also a target too. The way that the bugs run at you, and I just want to zoom out very quickly because there isn't a lot happening on the map at the moment. A couple of bugs are making it down the map. However, they're not big enough or scary enough to really destabilize the map. So whilst I've got a minute to talk right quick, I just want to explain where the bugs come from. At the moment, the bugs appear in this kind of upper echelon of the map here at the very north, or on the south, it's the very south, but we'll look at the north for now. They exist up here in the ether, in the darkness, uncovered space. And they will, over the course of time, come down the map and attack our base through different patterns, you know. And in this tournament phase, we're seeing and noticing that the bugs stick to a very solid corridor of this, which isn't normal of biter battles, but it's very normal for a tournament like this with only 3 people on the team. The bugs will aggress down this kind of corridor of pressure. So when we're defending our base, we need to make sure at the bare minimum that we build up a wall of some description or some defenses of some description in and around this kind of middle area. We don't want it to be on top of our base, because if any of those defenses break, then our base will be next in line. But we need to have this kind of area set out so that we can defend inside of the circle. If they make it through, then we ask our support player to come up and defend with us on this bottom end of this ellipse here, this line. Or if we're feeling confident and we have enough radar coverage, we can defend just outside the bubble and start catching the waves. And what we know this to be, and what we've coined this term, is surfing waves. You're catching waves as they come in, almost surfing through the pressure that's coming onto your base. That's not a new term, by the way. That's just something that's been in circulation for a long time now. And you'll see people do that with cars. But with this concrete dome around us, you know, you can do it on foot if you want to. So yeah, let's take a look at research real quick. 16 minutes into the game, it appears to me as nobody is building that early phase of pressure. It seems as though we are just mano a mano, neck and neck, eyeball to eyeball, arm wrestling with no trick plays at all. It's a test of strength and courage. One team is going to get there first, and potentially if the build is well put together, well resourced, comes up in time, if it's powered up correctly, I mean potentially. Eisenfaust, does concrete make biters move faster too? I don't think so. I mean, it might be, but I think it's negligible realistically. I don't think so, if I'm being entirely honest. I think on refined concrete it may do, but this is, I think, basic concrete. I think we're on this rather than this. Oh no, we're on refined, aren't we? Sorry, because of the pattern. I don't think so. Somebody will be able to answer that. In fact, if anybody out there currently in Twitch chat, would you be able to know that off the top of your head? We don't normally, outside of this tournament, so our average casual player, like myself, although I am a legend, we don't have concrete in the main base, other than a small patch in this opening area. So this is very uncommon for us to see within the game. Also, is there a captain's game with rampant biters? TBD. I have some things in the work that I'm not going to talk that much about in this game because we're casting a game itself. However, I've got a few ideas for spicing up a couple of normal games. So I'll talk a little bit more about that when we do some casual casting outside of the tournament itself. However, I've been getting some feedback that I go off on tangents at times during these casts. So I don't want to take up too much of the airspace with that. However, I'd like you to know that there are some special games with some changes made that I have got planned very, very soon. And again, we're not going to be doing something too far out. We're still playing biter battles, but we're just tweaking and twisting things just a little bit. Just making it a little bit more difficult maybe. Difficult in some areas, but we'll give you a way to kind of, you know, give you a win condition where if you reach certain points, then you will succeed. Right, on the north, we are flying engines. Logi 2, cars, fluid handling and oil gathering. And on the south, military 2, stone walls. The south is slightly behind in their tech, but it's not too bad. I wouldn't say they're mild. I mean, they've got a couple of unique, but like what we're seeing here now is a large amount of labs going down. So I'd say that the south, we've noticed this with Zaspar's team, is they're a minute or two off the pace of maximum speed, but their build is bigger. So we're firing up a monster truck. So instead of firing up a Formula 1 car, we're firing up a huge behemoth. So at the moment, it seems as though they're behind in research, but with their lab array and the amount of items they can process through that array and through these buildings down here, they can catch up on these techs quite quickly, quite substantially. The most notable tech that we need to keep an eye on is, firstly, transitioning from military science into blue science is key. It's pivotal to do that as fast as you can. Normally that comes when the map begins to become destabilized, when the enemy decides to throw some science at you to destabilize your map, push the bugs up, make them stronger, make them attack your base more often in bigger groups. If you can get to blue in a comfortable time, then there's quite a long wait if you want to go to yellow. There's a couple of technologies you need to research to get here. However, yellow is the win condition at the moment so far. Purple could be, and it might be today, but yellow might be the win condition. So at the moment, the South are building up a machine that is large, it's powerful, and it will make up for the lost time. Later, it's those later, deeper technologies that you need to research that take a long time that will indicate whether you can transition to the next level effectively. Got you. Yeah, DPS. I thought that was the case. DPS has come through with a win there, so they're not affected by floor in vanilla. We don't see this. Without being rude, like refined concrete in biter battles is a waste of time. We would never make this, so we never see it. You know, it's like Spidertrons. I love them, but I've played hundreds of games of this and I've never seen a Spidertron once. It's just one of those items that just never appears. And as much as I do love them, minor bug run into the middle of the Chua's base. Although, you know, the bugs, even at this state now, they might down an individual building, but they're not really going to kind of change the dial too much here. They're not going to be able to smash the base up as much as medium-sized bugs or big-sized bugs later on. So yeah, they've lost one building here, but again, their lab arrays are up, and they're being mostly full and being fed. So yeah, I like what I see from the north, and I like what I see from the south. However, we did notice earlier on, I did mention this, that it's production stats. This is the key. And how telling is this? How telling is this? Green chips is typically a really solid indicator as to whether or not a team has a handle on the late game. If you have an increased amount of produced and buffered green chips, it's most likely a denominating factor as to a win condition, if I can get my words out. So these teams are around about 20 green chips difference, which is nothing. At the moment, the North is sat at 3975, the South at 3998. It's about 20-ish green chips difference. That is literally nothing. So it's neck and neck on green chips, which we've known from previous games and previous tournament games we've cast, is a win condition. You need an advantage on green chips. Let's look at the other production stats whilst we're here. So coal, the South have it by a few thousand. Stone is about North by a couple of hundred. It's not really much to write home about. Iron plates, the South by quite a few, about 6,000, 7,000. And copper is bang on the money, about the same, give or take 50 or 60. And steel is double, although it's only 50 to the North 25. But yeah, that iron number on the North is a little bit worrying, you know, a little bit worrying. So we'll see if that kind of echoes into the later game, right? It might start off by a few thousand, but it might end up by being 20 or 30,000, which again, you know, that's stuff that you have that you know your enemy doesn't. So it's expansion, that is, you know, extra jugs being built. And I think I've managed to survive. Has it been 15 minutes? I think I've survived not saying the banned words, so I'm going to unban those words. And oh my god, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I was sweating bullets there trying to make sure I said flasks. No, I respect it. I respect it. You got to make it spicy. You got to make it different. Military science now going down at a reasonable time for the South. 23 minutes in. The North have yet to expand into the military. Do we have any spam at all? I don't think we do. Ooh, it's a bit late though, and that's a bit scary. Are they going for mil spam? That will slow them down. If they're committing to this, it's slow. And the reason I say it's slow is because we normally will see military come up 20 minutes to 24 minutes. The first flask being built anywhere between that time frame. So the South managed to get theirs up within reasonable time. It's a bit slower than the average, but it's still within, you know, the parameters we've seen to be a win condition. However, the North are slow to get this spam up, and I don't know, dude. Maybe you've got time to do this, but it's a little bit late. You've got some brick production, yes. Okay, we'll have to keep tabs with that. I don't love it. The South are streaking ahead. In my mind, having a military up and feeding that into your labs, or at the bare minimum chesting it so that you can throw it, is vital. And again, the first few jugs now pull out of the assembler 2s, fly across this transport belt, and get chested. So the South are ready to pressurize the North. My question is the North ready for pressure? They are building out well, and they've got their first 2 tiers of science up. Let's see what they're researching. This will be quite telling. Okay, so we're going for car. We're going for fluid handling, and we're also going for ore gathering. Meanwhile, the South, probably smelling that if they've done their scouting, and scouting is a really key part of this game, guys, because you don't see the other side of the map. You see parts of it, but you don't see all of it. Maybe they think they can squeeze in grenade upgrade early, because they are one step, just a half step ahead. But this is going full blaze. I mean, this is ridiculously fast in terms of getting this up and running. If we were to play normal Factorio, we would not be able to achieve this in 25 minutes. Again, it's because the likes of Derek, it's because the likes of Anti supporting and Nephrim supporting that we're able to do this, but this is flying. And I wouldn't be surprised, and I think we've already seen one go. A send has occurred. A few sends have happened. So Carl threw some red does very little, and Derek has sent about 8 jugs of military science. We've gone from 5.1% to 6.6%. It's notable, because I would rather be dealing with 5% bugs than 6. However, later on in the game, I'd much rather be dealing with 10% bugs than like 50 or 60% bugs. So, you know, they're moving in the right direction. They're trending in the right direction. However, it feels like the North are just powering on. Like, they're not going mill side. They are trying to get some spam up that's super late. This is really late. And the reason why this is coming at the time that it is, or the reason that I say this is late, and maybe this is a bit of a misplay or a misfire, is that if this was up 5 minutes ago, I'd be singing the praises of this build. But it's coming at a point where the North will begin to be pressurized. So Joshua's job, realistically, needs to be either helping defend or add more build, add more to this. Like, Caliphro is incredibly fast. However, I would rather somebody helping me here than building spam. If we're going for spam, I would have argued, do it straight away. It's a known play that we will make, and it's just something we're going to commit to straight away. I don't know if this was part of the plan. If it was, it's come very, very late in the game. It may still work. It may still help. If you have the spare resources, you may as well go for it, but it's still not really on. So yeah, I feel like the South are going to take a substantial timing lead from this, but the North are positioning really nicely to go into the next level, the next tier. And again, going for this grenade research early, it does slow you down by a touch. Not a lot, but just by a little bit. And again, the North have their auto, they have their car, they have their red belts. Yeah, I'm loving this so far. Oh, I didn't put a prediction in. Damn. Hang on, guys, let me start a prediction. Oh my god, I'm such an idiot. I was hyping the game up so much before that I didn't even start this off. I don't know if it's worth it. Don't feel like you have to bet. But for any of you guys watching on Twitch, I try to do this at the beginning of every game. I've completely forgotten this game, sorry. I'm working double shifts at the moment, lads, so yeah, apologies. Here we go, start prediction. Professional, hang on, whoa. We can't be throwing around the P word here. So do not worry, it might be worth saving your pot noodles for a future stream, for the finals, for instance. But if you feel like it's worth betting on, this will be a blue build. This will be the beginnings of a red chip production blue build. Meanwhile, the South have yet to begin building that, but they do have a wall going down. I like this. Derek is walling up. He's got a minute. He can take a bit of time and just put this wall down. Any level of wall, any barrier that will just halt the bugs is better than them running into the middle of your base and just destroying something that you previously had up that was working for you. So for now, this is something that I love to see. Any level of wall, whether it's 1 thick, 2 thick, doesn't matter if it's a gap, doesn't matter if it's ugly, just get it down, let it protect you. This is a cloak, this is a barrier. It's not a shield so much, but it's a speed bump, that will slow down the vehicle of rampaging bugs moving into your base trying to kill you off. Oh damn, this is huge. Hang on a minute, is this normal? Wait. $24 long? I'm perplexed. I thought we went 418. My eyes might be deceiving me here, but is this an abnormally large red chip production? Into obviously blue science. This seems a bit unwieldy. Although, you know, calculated probably. I don't know. I'll have to wait and see. That seems to me to be a very egregiously large red chip production by about 4 or 5 extra, you know, kind of assembly 1s and 2s. But it might work out for them, you know. They might have done their maths at the beginning of the game and figured out that tacking on an extra 5 or 6 buildings. Blue spam, I don't know. Interesting. No, there's oh. And Derek sends again 63 flasks. The North are dealing with 14% bugs. Okay, guys, throw out a number between 300 and 1,000. 300 and 1,000. Let's go kind of big with it, right? Because this is a big build. Let's not go 333, or let's go like up into the stratosphere with this. 876. We haven't seen it happen. Not intentionally anyway. If the North were to build 876 chemical jugs, which they can, this build is big, it kind of does a job. But we're not really at the big bug stage. Although that's close. Let's go 900. Let's just go the whole hog. Let's try and get to big bugs off the back of this. So it's around about 920, right? Or let's go a bit further. 950 is definitely it. 950 gets us to 50% bugs. The reason this is important is because we go up 2 stages of evolution. The bugs cease to become these medium-sized, these small bugs, these brown shell bugs. They go up 1 stage into medium-sized bugs, which are pink shells, and they go 1 step even further into blue-shelled bugs. That potentially, we haven't seen blue spam, guys. This, oh, I don't know. I don't know if it works. We haven't seen it happen yet. No, at no point in this tournament have we seen any blue play happen. We've seen people grab random amounts of science and throw it at the end of a game, but we haven't seen it happen where one play is being dictated by a need for blue spam. Is there enough? I mean, oil, it's here. Like, there's some. You know, you can get this back as fast as you can. I'd go for as much as you can, actually. You could probably go for all 3 of these if you really, really wanted to. You know, if you're going to commit, you may as well commit now before the bugs evolve up. There's a brief window of opportunity for Team Chua here. I'm with King of Gugu here. I don't think blue is worth sending. But it might come at the perfectly worst time for the South. Because they are definitely not expecting a blue send. I promise you that. And blue, I don't think is really worth it. Like, it's super expensive to make, and you may as well research with it. So I guess what we'll really have to keep in mind is what they're looking to research with. However, Joshua, at the worst possible time, is away from his base. Did he die? Oh no. He's gotten his initial oil, the supplementary oil. Yeah, okay, so he's going for secondary oil patch. So Carl now, on defense, has a massive, huge amount. Oh, and dude, if they scout this, I'd love to hear the comms on Anti's side, on Derek's side. You know, is that their blue? There's no way. That's too big. What are they doing with that? There's no way they're throwing at us. 10 minutes later, 50 blue. No! We've identified yellow or purple is the win. Condition for most teams. Blue is an expensive win condition. Potentially it's not a win condition. So, yeah. The bugs, however, have evolved now at 20.7% on the North. Carl has got his work cut out for him. His support player is far away getting oil for the blue build that we've seen on the North that's quite large. Carl at the moment has to now juggle and surf through the pressure of these waves. At the moment, grenades will absolutely do a job. The only potential risk he has at the moment is just walking over too much acid. It slows you down and can potentially stun lock you later. So having a decent network array around your base, we have eyes and ears just outside of our dome of protection effectively, and Carl is able to intercept these waves and deal with them as they come through as efficiently as he possibly can. And Fennec, you do make a good point there. You are right, they would have prepared for mill spam since blue is later. So yeah, I think I'm trying to build a narrative here. I don't think this is going to be anything other than just research, but we can live in hope, you know. Maybe they've done some maths that we haven't done. It would make for an incredible breakdown, and I will be breaking down the last 2 semi-finals and this game as well in the not too distant future, so watch out for that. That'll probably be around Friday night. But yeah, so we move on. Let's take a look at the South. Again, their oil has gone down. They've opted for oil patches out here to the east, oil patches that the North will not touch. So all of their oil is moved out here to the west. It can be a bit of a what they call it in kickboxing. we've got any fight aficionados out there, I might be using this term incorrectly, but I did work at points with kickboxers around, pre-COVID time. There's a term called like awkward leg, awkward punt, awkward elbows, unconventional like striking styles, and potentially Blue. Nobody's factored this in. Nobody has factored this in. I haven't factored this in. This shouldn't be a send, and probably won't be a send. So I might, eat my hat or regret saying this. But if it is a send, we've not calculated this. We have not. It has not gone into the calculator of Factorio wins effectively. But it could be. Although Team Chua, are they the kind of team that does this? I don't think so. They don't. Team Chua are traditionalists, in my mind. They play the game as the game should be played. Drunken Master style. Interesting. Yeah, I love Thai. Oh wait, no tangents, guys. No tangents. We're not tangenting here. We will tangent later. There will be times for tangent, but now is not the tangent time. So yeah, I love it. I love it, and I wish that when I was younger I got into combat sports. Unfortunately for me, contact sports, kind of the same, but a little bit different in the fact that you have a team. Yeah, we're tangenting away. So, okay. Plastic is now beginning to flow through the Nord space. Derek has thrown a huge amount of science there. 192 jugs go across. He's been slowly but surely pumping some science out. At the moment, 414 has been sent from the south to the north, and the north sit at 26.1%. No time, maybe some arcs or cosines. Maybe. We'll thread a couple of random stories in when people are falling asleep and not paying attention. When you hear me start talking in Klingon, lads, that's when you know. So Joshua with a feed again. The South are at 21% now, North at 26%. Both teams are now afforded the opportunity to defend against medium-sized bugs. The packs are now bigger, larger in size, denser. The health pool of each of these bugs are more, so you have to use more resources in order to kill them. Time to kill on these bugs is longer now. And I like what Anti's done here. There's a comprehensive wall around the base. It's not perfect, it's not pretty, but it is there, And rather it being an imaginary wall, it's real, and it is there, it's working for you. So yeah, what was one thing that we noticed? Chesting walls. That's certainly something I would hope they're doing, right? Some of these buildings are backed up with bricks. I don't know why you wouldn't pull, or at least put together a box of walls, right? I know they're probably going to be handcrafting, and it's very quick to handcraft walls. However, it's nice to just pull a couple of thousand out of a box and just slap it down. So I'm hoping down the line that the North do try and eyeball out some defenses, although at the moment Carl is just defending large waves, These waves they're kind of annoying, Let's take a look at the inventory. Carl is rocking 22 magazines, 41 grenades, and he's got 45, and he's got some gun turrets on him as well. So yeah, Carl is ready to go. He's a one-man war zone. He's ready to take a fight to the bugs if he has to. I promise you, lads, I have no idea what Klingon is. But I will learn, and then we can tangentially Klingon stories. Blue up for the North. It's yet to turn on for the South, I believe. However, we'll take a look. Here we go. This is a really nice timing for the North. By the way, they were the first one to be aggressed onto. They got red jugs up at 4 minutes, green at 17, military at 28, and then the transition from military to blue at 37 minutes. Really, really nice and fast. Hopefully they can fill all of that blue build up, and it appears to me as though they're researching, so they're either going to be landing at purple or yellow in the not too distant future. Meanwhile, the South, 2 minutes for red, 19 for green, 24 minutes for military science, and blue is yet to be created. However, here we go. Straight away, as we say that, the first blue jugs fly onto the line. And at the 38-minute mark, only 1 minute away, 1 minute deviation from their northern counterpart, the South are creating their own jugs. This is really close. This is really, really close. I think it's probably about the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 17, 18, 19, 20. It's bigger. It's bigger. It's 27. And as we all know, guys, 27 is bigger than 24. So yeah, potentially, yeah, they can crank out more blue. Again, it appears to me as though, having watched these games back, that their machine it builds redundancy into it, right? They have the ability to expand later. So when we get kind of stalling out, when we go for our yellow signs, we can weld on an extra 4x4 of labs down here, or an extra couple of labs up here, and then rinse and make the most out of all of these buildings that are stacking up signs at the moment for us. So at the moment, it seems like there's a lot of red stacking up, and why would we do this? Why wouldn't we have half of as much of this? Later on, we may make the most of this by moving our labs, or kind of adding onto our labs, and being able to give ourselves some better research speed. So the North have gone for shooting upgrades. That's interesting. Okay, shooting upgrades for the North. The South have already got their flame towers down. They already have batteries. They've got their flambles, gun turrets, etc., repair packs. And North are moving for yellow signs. LDS is a key indicator that, yeah, we're going for yellow signs. Power, that's a great question. It appears to me as though the South are looking pretty good on power. And again, it was one of the weak spots of their build the last time round. And the North, I don't love the fact they're pulling coal off the back of their power line. I don't love this, but I guess if you can hand feed like a stack of coal every now and again into this plastic, it works, but yeah, this might be a bit of an issue. Like, I don't know. And as we can see, some bugs have made it into the area in the North here where they've had to grenade their lines. Yeah, I mean, oh, sorry. I think now, realistically, it's about accurate plays, right? Both teams have to defend. South have run out for coal on grenades. Oh, we'll take a look. We'll take a look. That's a great spot. That's a great spot. And again, we see these stone furnaces. Where are the grenade buildings? They welded these on. Here we go. No, they're fine, dude. It's iron plates, right? But these boxes are relatively healthy. Like having a box of 20, 20, 20. Ah, I see. Got you. Yeah, yeah. So they're worried about it. They're worried about it. And rightfully so. You never want to be having diminishing returns on these defensive items. You never want to be using more than you're producing. So I would love to always have at least about 10 to 20 in a box at any given time. From there, you know, you can deal with most of the pressure. And again, I love this ring of defense. Radar ring is perfect. In the North, we have elements of that these kind of stretched out elements of radars where we can see deeper into the map. Super important we do this. A lone bug wanders in to our smelting line. Yeah, I think hand feeding stuff at this point in the game, it's a pretty simple trip. You know, you are going from, you know, here where they're building up, stacking up. I think they might even still have some burner cities up, and you're just kind of ripping plates across and then, you know, getting grenades off the back of it. Anti, another really, really solid job in defense, meeting the wave before it meets your wall, keeping your wall as healthy as possible. So far, so good. I love what I see from these guys. You know, cruising around, getting to an area where there is a wave, getting out the car, saving the car as much as you can. You can build as many as you want, but try and save them as much as you can. And the bugs go down through this stone kind of furnace maze, I guess you call it. So yeah, and as we say, guys, the pressure is relentless. The South are at 24.4%, the North at 26.4%, so only 2% difference. But again, this is the kind of thing where you can't really take a breather. Once threat farming starts, it doesn't stop until you either lose your base or your enemy's base has gotten destroyed. So you're on it. Once it starts, it's relentless and it never stops. So hopefully the northern threat farmer, Carl, is making some extra brick production as well. I like this. I like to see this. Bricks, one of the best items in the game. Hands down. Yes, obviously we want rockets. Yes, obviously we want white signs. We obviously want spidertrons and laser towers. However, bricks into walls, underrated. I think undervalued. You know, undervalued. So Carl, a lot of pressure here to deal with. Does a really good job. Minimum amounts of grenades used, meaning he has more on him to kind of deal with larger waves. This is a little uncomfortable for me. Caliphate, okay, yeah, comes out of his main base building role to support, kills off a couple of waves of bugs, or about 1.5, 2 waves of bugs, melts down these spitters, right back to work. And plastic is a real issue on the north. I thought this would happen. Plastic is a real issue. Oh, I do not love this. I know what they're going to do. I know they're just going to grab stacks and then drag it across, but like plastic needs to be here and fully backed up. You know, I would advocate for grabbing a line like this and splitting it off, or at the bare minimum, just like, yeah, hand grabbing off of lines. Not ideal. You don't always want to do that, but if you have to, even have a coal snake somewhere, you know, Yeah, fuck. Where would I stick one? Well, actually, nowhere here, to be honest. Maybe here. You could. I mean, it sounds like a weird play, guys. Trust me, but like, if you could squeeze a 3x3 coal snake onto this as you're building up this area, you could always just grab coal and just drag it down. Oh, Tuba Chimpy, thank you for the sub, mate. A tier 1. Holy shit. I appreciate you, mate. Thank you very much. We were talking about this prior to the stream starting, but yeah, I'm apparently ranked. Who would have thought it? Actually, no, I did say I wouldn't talk about it on the stream, so we'll talk about it off stream. But yeah, skimming coal, man. That you're just kind of Guava. Welcome, hey mate. You have a good night, and I'll be posting this video to YouTube, so do not worry. Have a good night, mate. Get your head down, get the rest, and this game will be ready for you hopefully by tomorrow morning. South power out of coal as well. That's looking healthy, dude. North isn't. North is dangerous. This is really dangerous. I know what the play was. I know what they were trying to do, but what you're doing now is you're choking your base off. You know, you're taking the oxygen out of the air. Take care, mate. GG's, GG's. So yeah, in order to satiate and feed one build, you are suffocating another, and I just don't. It hurts me. The other south. You were right. You were right. You were half right. You know, one of the teams are struggling. This is looking lovely though for Derek and Anti's team. You know, they had power issues in their last game, and here we have the beginnings of hopefully their yellow build. Now power for them should be fine, but this at a time now, a crucial time where all the labs are firing and researching, a crucial time. LDS. The south are at 65%, the north at 77%. However, the north have power problems and they're not able to fix it straight away. Power is dwindling on the north as LDS is going to slowly but surely catch up for the south. This could be a pivotal moment. If at this point now you are overtaken on research, and I know the south have more locked in, right? But at the moment, north are neck and neck with vital, long research that takes a long ass time. They need to bounce this back up. Now even more of their power is starting to get pulled back. And that yellow is going to dip, unfortunately, into that crimson red category if they can't solve this problem anytime soon. This is really, really bad timing for them. Really bad timing. I would grab this coal snake here. It needs to be emptied. And Carl's doing a good job here. However, hopefully no waves are approaching. Damn, dude, your threat farmer is feeding your plats, your power up. And unfortunately, the waves are coming in. Is there anybody here available to defend here? Because there is a wall. There is a bit of a wall. Carl has got so much work to do. Okay, Joshua comes in clutch. There's a second wave just off to our left-hand side. Joshua with a couple of grenades. The bugs do go down. And he transitions over to wave number 2. Heals himself up. A couple of more grenades. Another wave comes in on the north. This is nightmare mode for the north. Carl at the moment is currently refueling their power up with coal, hand feeding it. Where prior it was being kind of choked out to feed plastic, and now Joshua expertly catches multiple waves, playing support. There is no wall here, you'd love to have one, but just blows the pressure back up the map, says not right now, not today. Oh, damn, dude. This is nightmare mode. I wonder if it'll run out again. I wonder if hand feeding is really the way, or the long play. But most of the boilers now have a decent whack of coal in. It will last a little bit, and plastic is now rebounding too. Flamers are coming in. Carl's being dropped. Do you want pause? Do we pause? Yeah, I was going to say, do we pause? Okay. I think we should. I think it's only fair if one person lags on the enemy team or the north or south team that we just give them a minute to rebalance or figure out what's going on. The last thing you want to do is get kicked out because you're lagging. That sucks. You play the game, you play hard, you play well, you play accurately, you play fast, and to be like dropped or semi-kicked from a game would be wounding at this point. Especially this is for pride. This is for third place, you know. The grand final is going to be a banger, by the way, guys. I'm super looking forward to that. And this could have been one. You know, these teams are good enough to have made it into a final. Just minor mistakes, minor mistakes, minor trip-ups that happened through their semi-final games that landed them here in this third place playoff. But talented nonetheless, fast nonetheless. And Carl's being dropped again. I think we should pause, right? We need to pause for Carl. just throw a bit of shade on Carl. By the way, Carl and I are good friends. Like we share a lot of banter. So if any of you see me posting messages about Carl, you know, it's because I know him. No, I don't know him personally, but we've talked a lot over the course of the game. This is weird. Right, so the bugs have been killed here, and they've been killed here. In fact, they've just been deleted across the map. Just even the playing field out. Let everybody get back to what they were doing. Start again. Have fun, good luck, good stuff. Okay, that's good. That's some really good sportsmanship. I'm going to be honest. That's some really good sportsmanship right there. And yeah, it should be a LAN. I'd love to see a LAN. Can you imagine? Team jerseys. Although we've got people playing from America and stuff, so I don't know how optimal that would be. But hey, dude, if you guys want to host like a, you know, Cologne, for instance, Gamescom, Biter Battles. Oh, I'd go there and cast. IRL ghosty casting, Cologne. Hey, we can dream. We can dream. So the game has been reset. The bugs have been killed. We're back on and continuing on the game. The North are researching their blue chips, moving into robotics, and then finally going to get their science jugs of yellow researched in. The South have already got their blue chips, and they already have their robotics down, so they're just waiting for their yellow science to be researched. And then lasers and laser turrets, you know, a bit of defensive prowess might be needed to defend their base. So, can you imagine that? A community meeting, a Factorio Cologne meetup. All about, because I think Cologne is kind of central to everybody. There's a couple of people in France, a couple of people like me in England who'd fly over. You know, some people that would be flying from far away, but I think Germany is a good central point for that. Yeah, dude, I'd do it. I'd do it for the love of the game. I wouldn't even ask for any money. I'd literally do it for the love of the game. Let's get us out to Cologne one time. Or even like GDQ, you know, do a speedrun kind of demonstration. Ah, okay, SteelAxe meetings. That's cool. Yeah. Honestly, mate, just a showcase. You'd be surprised, you know, the amount of people that I bump into who say, I've been playing Factorio for X amount of hours. I had no idea this was a thing. And you just, my comments always welcome in, mate. I'm glad you found us. You know, I hope you like what you see, and maybe we'll see you get into a game sometime. Okay, right, so we've been slightly meandering because of that pause. I am going to just refocus us back in here and take a look at science being built. Science being built is the South are ahead on blue by about 200. And again, those 200 have all been consumed. So again, it's nothing really crazy going on here. In terms of raw resources, the South are ahead by 5k on coal. They're ahead by about 10k on stone. They're ahead by about 20k on iron plates. The South are ahead by about 3k, 2 or 3k on copper plates. Steel, North are ahead. There's about 3,000 in it for green chips on the South to the North. And red chips only about 200, with the South being ahead. So the South are unequivocally ahead in terms of their production. And they will be able to send first their yellow science. But I don't think that they're going to be like miles ahead. I don't think they're going to be holding 600 jugs whilst the North are holding 10. So now I think it just comes down to the magic number. How much do we need? What are our defenses looking like? Do we want to wait and maybe build up our defenses before we start sending? Because that will naturally trigger a response from the other enemy team. So if the North send 200 yellow jugs and all of a sudden your bugs go to 52% or 60%, you might want to hold off triggering their throw so that you can build up your own wall and your own defenses. At the moment, a single or a too thick wall will hold these bugs. That's all it's doing. This is like a net. I know it's a brick wall, but it's like a net. It's catching them, it's collecting all these bugs into one spot, and it's making defending them really, really easy and very simplistic. So not a lot of flame was used there to kill most of that wave off. And just like that, DMAC, at quite a decent pace actually, 25 jugs. They got their yellow science up at the 1 hour and 1 minute mark. They've made 27 jugs already, and 25 of them have been thrown. In terms of mutation, that has increased the mutagen by 9 points. 25 yellow jugs, a 9-point increase. The North are now dealing with 37% bugs. So there's nothing to sniff at really. I know that the South are on 36. But this yellow build now, it's on. And it is going to start cranking out yellow items. It's still lacking somewhat in LDS, but that'll take a little while to kind of kick in. And what are we missing? Plastic, right? Plastic's coming in. Yeah, okay, plastic. Yeah, plastic's trickling in, you know. And South built their first laser tower here, which is telling us in chat, meaning they have an extra 50 megawatts of power. The North are in for a bit of a surprise now. They do have a wall down. It's relatively thick. Carl has been defending like a madman, and I believe Joshua will also add to defenses. For now, it's about the main base builder. It's Caliphate. Can Caliphate get this up and running as fast as possible? And how fast can they try and catch back up again? They'll never be able to overtake the South in jugs produced because they're behind the curve a little bit. However, they can make some yellow to throw to the South, to rock them, to send their number up. So how much is that going to be? How much have they sent already? So the North have sent almost 1,000 military to the South, and the South have sent 400 military and 36 yellow. So we're kind of floating around the same mark here, but the yellow will accelerate the North's progression. They'll accelerate the North's strength of bugs very soon. And before we know it, a lot of these pink-shelled bugs and these brown-shelled bugs will cease to exist. And in their wake, in their stead, will be blue-shelled bugs. And again, now the waves are majoritively pink-shelled, which the flamethrower will deal with. You know, you've got to be a little careful though. The bugs are strong enough to catch up with you, so you can't really stand there and just fire with impunity. Movement, you know, pausing to take a break to flame. It's all really important. Carl does a really good job there. However, yeah, these guys got their work cut out for them. Joshua catching a couple of waves off to the west. Let's have a look at the south. Again, they've got this large stone furnace. It's a little bit has been chipped into and dented, but their wall is relatively thick. It's around their base. They've encased their base with concrete and stone walls. And this is fine. This is really, really nice to see. And again, it can only get thicker. It can only get thicker. Hang on a minute. Ooh, they lost some spam. 200 apparently. Ooh. I mean, it would. Let's send 200 to the south. I don't really think it's a loss, but it's not a game ending or losing loss. It's a 2% change in evolution. I would be much more happier with like 5 yellow jugs than 200 military. So military eventually runs out of road, like all sciences do, guys. Through these game modes, the sciences have like a timing where they work really, really well, and then after that timing, it's kind of not worth investing in doing any more of that. And around about the 1 hour mark, or just after the 1 hour mark at this game, like military science doesn't really have any efficacy. It doesn't make any difference to the game. So unless you have thousands of which you should have sent before that point, or unless you have a certain thing you're trying to do, like send out that particular time. Ooh, that sucks. That's really important. You need walls. These walls will be tested and torn down. Derek with a large send of 117 yellow jugs goes over to the north. The north are now 58%, so the bugs will evolve up from this pink-shelled bug to a blue-shelled bug. Oh, damn. Cologne's only 3 hours away. I mean, it's close, dude. I've been out there once to Gamescom. It was really good fun. I had a great time. I watched some competitive farming simulator. They had teams and everything, man. I didn't know that was a thing. No tangents. Not allowed. Illegal. But yeah, I didn't know competitive farming. Although I guess people that play competitive farming simulator probably think that this isn't a thing. So maybe we can cross-pollinate, you know? So yeah, the blue build is on. The yellow build is on. It's working mostly. With a couple of items missing. It's kind of red chip bound at the moment, but the red chips are slowly ticking in. And from here, it's just now, the south are just going to crank the pressure up to the north. Meanwhile, the north have yet to turn on. Their yellow build. Have I thought about adding a special chest or lab into the game? We have done game modes like that before, Fennec. We absolutely have. And they are a Dr. Claw special. So if you have any questions about game modes like that, get into Discord and ask about the Dr. Claw special games. I know it sounds a bit vague, but people will know what you're talking about. He has that game mode down to a science, and he knows how to put those game modes together. He's got like a pre-made save that is, yeah, really cool. I've played in them. I highly recommend doing stuff like that. Okay, so big spitters, big biters on the north. So yeah, definitely at 59.7%. The blue shell bugs are here, and they're here to stay. The north have a decent defense. It's a bit thin in areas, but like for me now, turning this on is the most important thing. We need some yellow signs, guys. We are going to start drowning in pressure if we don't start applying some ourselves. So the yellow assemblies, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 yellow assemblers to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 on the south. 12 to 17. So the south can just crank. I mean, you need to feed it, you need to fund it, but if you can, you will crank out many, many more. And it looks like potentially the north have got a lot of work cut out for them. And these waves are just going to start pounding the rock. They're going to start slamming into your base. And again, this wall is pivotal now for the south, for the north. They need to keep it up. They need to keep it healthy. They need to keep making walls in the background too. You can survive this. You can survive this. They've lost their... Oh, they have, haven't they? They've lost their little copper patch. Oh, Wunder. Do you know what? It was ambitious. I'm going to be honest. It was ambitious. Derek adding in an extra green copper lane. I love this. I love this. You know, you built in some redundancy. You've built up a load of copper sitting in boxes. Now you need to use it. And they are using it. They're making an extra green buffer builder that will help push up the green chip production. Red is now flowing in really comfortably too. So yeah, I mean, it's... I don't want to sound rude, but like the North have got a lot of stuff to deal with on their plate right now. Defense is one, building up their yellow science is another. At 1 hour and 8, so they're 7 minutes late. Sorry, not late, because they've gotten there within an hour and 10 minutes, which is still good, but they are 7 minutes difference. And in that 7-minute gap, that the South were faster than the North in building their yellow build up. The South have built up 390 yellow jugs. So 6 on the North, 390 on the South. Is it lagging again? Nobody's reporting lag, and I don't feel it in the game. So as I'm in the client, it doesn't feel like people are skipping in place or lagging out. So as it stands now, I don't think so. However, if somebody was to note that it is, you'd hope that we just pause, you know. And again, at this point in the game, it is vital that everybody can play their part. A minor slip, a minor trip here or there can seriously throw the game against you. Got you. Throw at 900. Our calculations from... And Anti has been in some of our research. I did a 6-hour, basically a breakdown of some of the games. And we calculated 800 of an endgame science is roundabout enough to throw the game in your favor or against your opponent. And I'll do the maths now because I think 900 is generous, but they have time. They can do this. They can make 900 easily. From the south to the north, 900 jugs go across. And the north bugs will be at 95%. And yeah, into behemoths. They'll evolve one more step up into behemoth bugs. And most defenses, if not all defenses of this game, have been severely tested, and all of which have failed against behemoth bugs. It now is a case of taking every person into defense, and you just wait and let this build up. You allow this yellow science to build and build and build and build. And from here, hopefully, you come back to a box with hundreds of jugs in. And we're missing stuff, aren't we? We're missing blue chips because we're missing green chips. Oh, that's nightmare mode. Damn. It's what you call a fumble, I guess. We don't have enough green chips to make our yellow signs. We're not pushing green down. And it's because some of these are backwards. Some of these undergrounds are backwards, right? Like we're throwing green into this area, right? So why aren't we pushing them this way? I may be wrong. We'll have to kind of we'll watch this back, but this seems like a minor kind of. Damn. Okay. So the North have got their own mechanical issues. They're not coming in at all, Deon. Oh, Duenyon. Apologies if I absolutely just butchered your name right there. You're correct. You are correct. And they have it ready to go. And they even have a buffer here of like 1,000. Like they have like 3,000 green chips here. You could just feed in hundreds at a time. However, at this moment in the game, as a player, what would I be thinking? What would be going through my head? I would be trying to figure out where the next attack is coming from and who's ready to defend that. If nobody's ready, it's me. Or if I'm closest, it's me. So you don't always have the time and the brevity to look from, 30,000 feet over and see what's going on, the intricacies of the base. So it's kind of like that pressure really does get to your brain, and it does make you play in funny ways. Like pressure gets to us all in different ways. Some people panic, some people get angry, some people fight, and you get the fight or flight set up. But if you're on the north, you are stable. You're stabilizing at 62% to the 42 of the south. However, your win condition is faltering a little bit, just a little bit. And again, we're not seeing jugs really come out. The South are RJD. The South have managed to get, and welcome back. They're managing to get their yellow build up and running, and their yellow build is now fully funded and fueled, and it is churning out a lot of yellow signs. In the box here, as we can see, 444 jugs and counting for the South. I believe the magic number for them is 900 or thereabouts. I have it on good authority that 900 is the magic number for the south to throw. And the north have managed to get their yellow build up. However, it's tricky. It is tricky. We are missing green ships in our blue build. And just down here is a box of 1900 and 1800 green ships. And again, it's not they're not making these mistakes on purpose. I'm sure in hindsight, or maybe because we're not under pressure, we can easily scan through the map and take it. But I promise you guys, it's not as easy as it looks doing this level of play, you know. Knowing that the behemoths are coming soon, knowing that invariably your base will become rubble very soon. And so you try and thicken it in areas and try and just get your defenses up and running as best you can. But having that many green chips chested and these blue builders needing those green chips, now power is fluctuating. Now power is going as well. It's just all collapsing for the north, unfortunately. Things are just, one thing knocks into another, echoes into another, and almost like dominoes. When one gets knocked over, another thing collapses, another thing collapses. Power is now a bit of an issue. And it's a serious, serious issue. When these lasers turn on, power is a problem. We dip into the red. There is no way we have enough here ready to go for behemoths. It's almost now the south have a bit of a... They can put their feet up. I know they won't. No good player will. But they can kind of put their feet up and just go, okay, we're at 500. How long till another 200 or 300? Yeah, we'll wait for that. I don't see anything or anticipate anything happening on the north. That really troubles us. And as long as we're hot on our defense and we're hot on catching our waves and defending our base, we've won this game. They have a comfortable blanket of time that they can work and operate within. And in that blanket of time, as long as everything is still working for them, as long as their chip production is working, as long as they're making their yellow signs, they win this game, unfortunately. And it's only if the North managed to do this, if the North managed to win this game, it's through gallant defense, gallant effort, everybody just throwing themselves, having a 10 out of 10 game defensively when the behemoths do come to stop their base from succumbing to the pressure that is the behemoths. And power just now bouncing is a really, really telling sign. Oh, oh my god, it's just never really come good. And what's been really interesting about this game, so the South have the ability to scout the North, but you need to spend resources to scout. So I think at this point in the game, they're probably just working under the assumption that there is yellow coming. I don't think the South realise how poor of a situation the North are in. You know, the North are not in a comfortable position. We don't see a box of hundreds of yellow jugs ready to go. You know, we have a box that's climbing in the hundreds, but we would prefer this to be, had we not stalled out with our green chip and our blue chip production, sorry, green chips coming into our blue chip production, this could be a much more comfortable number instead of 150, 350, 450. So it's working, it's taken a while to work, and I believe there's been a bit of a buffer time there for the North. Again, another thing that really kind of irks me, and I'm not sure how you solve this now, it's a little bit too late to solve, but power was a bit of an issue a few seconds ago, and I'm hoping that whoever's playing support now has managed to maybe get a bit of a handle on that, because it was properly discoteching. It was jumping up and down like a kid on a trampoline. You know, some of their power at the moment is not getting cold to it, and this is really dangerous, really, really dangerous. So hopefully things will change in the not too distant future. You don't have a lot of time to deal with stuff like this, and you still have a coal snake. If you want to, you can grab a couple of hundred coal out of this area. Derek sends. Huge send. The North are at 92.2%. Behemoths are on the pitch for the North. As Carl slams down a load of stone furnaces, this base is in trouble. The alarm bells have been rung, you know. The air raid sirens are turning on. Beware behemoths. Here be behemoths, somewhere in the darkness now. Califabop throws 230 across to the south. It shoots them up to 72%, but they're not dealing with behemoths. And again, the one thing we know when the bugs get this big is that your walls are kind of a suggestion to them. You know, fighting your walls is kind of a, well, do you fancy a bit of this? Here we go. Behemoth number 1, it's a boss. It's appeared on the North and they're juggling relatively well. Power is bouncing, but the bosses are going down as more waves crash into the base. This is frightening for the North. Very, very tough position to work your way through and work out of. A single death at this point puts a lot more pressure and onus on whoever is still alive to continue on this job. And Carl catches multiple waves and drags them away from his main base. This is really, really good team play from Califer and Carl. As we can see now, one of the bosses has been trapped in his own little prison, slowly but surely getting burnt down by the lasers. Power is looking stable. Power is looking stable. Okay, now it's jumping, but this is fine. This is okay for the North. This is okay. They're surviving. They're not working with very well upgraded lasers, but the bugs are being managed. You know, at this point, your defenses are suggesting, oh, and just like that, a wave makes it through. Directly on top of the yellow signs, the North are in for a world of pain. 94.9% now on the North. The bugs are just tearing through the North's yellow build. Sayonara to anything that used to exist in this spot now. And Carl has tried as best he might. I feel like this has been doomed from the start. And they will defend until the very end, until the very last man. It's the last game of the tournament. You don't give in until it's literally over, but yeah, if I'm on the South, I'm smelling victory unless a wave somehow manages to break through our defenses. But with anti-defending, with Nephrons defending, I'm sure as long as no one particular area gets kind of invaded for the South, that this will eventually be a northern collapse, unfortunately. It was a close game, and at points it was basically neck and neck. But a couple of minor issues that happened to the North just threw them off balance a little bit. Now, there are bosses here, correct? However, medium bosses and big bosses, I mean, they can still make it through. This could still be problematic for the South, sorry. But I just don't, it's manageable. You know, they're not tearing defenses down. At the moment, when a wave makes it to an area, when they're, you know, behemoths, they just rip through this very quickly. And, you know, the one thing I would say, though, you're not over until your rocket silo is exploded. So if the North can just hold, and one hell of a hold it will have to be, and if they manage to do it, this would be a legendary game. This would go down as one of the all-time games of Biter Battles. Surviving behemoths. And just whilst, you know, some boss bugs chip through another base and just find a way in, you know, just drill a way in. It appears to me as though this is really only going to go one way. The North are slowly sinking. Holes in their hull are appearing. And as the liquid of the behemoth slowly pour into their base, it decimates anything it touches. It is napalm to your build. It is acid to your liquid. It is just melting every single thing that it is touching right now. And here used to be a build that was very successful and working for you and working for your team. It is no more. Here used to be a wall that kept the bugs at bay. It is no more. And the North have done incredibly well. I know this sucks, like they have lost this build. There is no more yellow to be built in this spot. However, it's not over till it's over. And unless, I'm not saying this will happen, but unless some major mistake happens from the South, all they really have to do now is, as the bugs are 76%, use their flamers intelligently, kite the bugs through their defenses. Anti and Nephrom's doing a really good job here of just slowly, like, damaging the bugs, moving back, It's a masterclass. It's really, really good what we're seeing from the South. They've not really put a foot wrong. You know, they've not really put a foot wrong here on the South. They've been quick. They've produced well. Let's see, any of these bosses making it through. They've produced well. They've managed to do their part. 2, 19, 24, 38, 101. And that transition between military and blue was about 14 minutes, which is not bad at all. All the while they were being pressured too. So yeah, I don't know, notes for the North. I mean, if they were going to commit to this military science, I would have probably put it up a bit earlier, but they didn't. Their base is still here, you know, they still can make some yellow. They are still making some yellow jugs. Anti goes down. Oh, they have some flamer turrets too. Got you. Derek sends another 39. The North are at 99.9%. 0.1%, here we come. Let's get the big 100. They're 0.1% away from 100% on the North. But the bugs are just now coming through. They are just storming through. And it will not be long as one wave breaks into the North space around a lot of their mining drills. Their lasers are putting up one hell of a fight, although they're not massively upgraded. So the evolutionary percentage can go above 100%. All that necessarily dictates is their strength. So if they go to 200%, 300 or 400%, they are just so much stronger. Their health pool is larger, they hit for harder. So effectively their evolutionary percent, just think of that as their strength. They're being pumped up, you know, they're being enraged to 100%. And now, as you can see, they're just anything in their way, bulldozing. These are monster trucks, huge and massive war machines just plowing through your base. And all you really have on the north is a box of 200-ish jugs to send to the south. I don't know if it's enough. Although the waves are pretty aggressive. I mean, I would be shocked if the south get broken into. If I'm looking north and there's an explosion on the south, that would be... Firstly, it would be cinema, because I've never seen it happen often. I've seen it happen about 4 times in my entire time of casting, where one team is sinking and the other team somehow loses. But it's wildly rare for that to happen. And they have defenders ready to go, ready to deal with these problems as they come, so... But yeah, somebody needs to go ahead and just throw this. Like, it's 200 right now. Let's just do it, because why not? 200. It doesn't get them to behemoths. It's kind of close, though. Hang on. Are we about to see the south go to behemoths? As most of their yellow build is in absolute shambles right now. Like, it doesn't exist. 50,000 people used to live here and now no more. The wreckage of what used to be in the body of a behemoth biter sits now on the ground, pancaked into this. Tattooed into the ground used to be a yellow build that could have won the game. However, 221 jugs, they still have 4 buildings making yellow signs. The south might be able to get the north might be able to get the south to behemoths. And at that point, it's anyone's game, really. Although I don't see the bugs really breaking through this. But it's not over till it's over. Ye who stands here, behold my yellow signs and despair. Very true. Very true. And you know what? If anything, the stuff that you have already down is basically a speed bump. 101% on the north, 77 on the south. Are they aiming for ascend? They have to, right? They're oh my god, that is so ballsy. That is unbelievably ballsy. They're rebuilding their yellow signs. They are It's not over till the fat silo sings. I like that. I might need to steal that. The balls on these guys to rebuild this are huge. It's going to take a hot minute to get it down when somebody could be defending, and it might not even turn on, but they're going for it. As Derek throws another 100 jugs. What is 104% to 100% really? The behemoths are still here. Your base is in tatters anyway, right? You're clinging on for dear life. And yet they still have like a 1% chance of winning this. Maybe a 1.5%. If they can, I don't know how they turn this back on. I really don't. But Califer is going for it. And you've got to commend them. Last game of the tournament for either of these teams. They're not giving in. They're not dying. They're not laying down and letting one team just dominate them. They are trying to survive. You've got to give them credit. You've got to respect it. You know, fight, stay in the fight and continue fighting. And if you get knocked down, get back up and keep fighting. They're not done. You know, if this was a Rocky film, it'd be one of those, I didn't hear no bell. You know, as blood pours out of your eyes and your ears and concussion rings in your head, skull's been cracked. All of the facilities you had at the beginning of the fight, you no longer have, but you can stand. And if you can stand, you can stay on your feet. And if you can do that, you can keep throwing punches. And that's exactly what the North are doing. It's a gallant effort. Whether this turns into anything, whether this actually appears to turn back on again, I don't know. But they're trying their best. They're trying their best, and it is kind of working. These lasers are doing the Lord's work, by the way. I don't think they've lost more than a couple, really. These lasers have done incredible work here. Exactly. It's not about how hard you can punch. It's about how many times you can get punch and continue rebuilding your yellow signs so that you can try and win a game of biter battles. For third place. Guys, this is for third place. This is like a finals game, you know? This is literally like a finals game where both teams are gunning it. Absolutely gunning it. And I tell you what, the bugs are coming in on the south, you know? They're manageable. Their health pool is lower, but they're coming in. And they're being dealt with. But I mean, how many? How many jugs do you need? What is the magic number? How do we get to 90? That's all you need. Get their behemoths on the table and then go from there. We're going to calculate. I don't have time to ask you for a number. I'm just going to put 350 in. 350 to the south. Are we at behemoths? Yes! We are 350 and we're at behemoths. 315. We're 45 yellow jugs away as our yellow build continues. It pops back up. It respawns. We've respawned our yellow build. And at 350 jugs, we can put behemoths on the pitch for the south, potentially giving us a win condition. But the behemoths are pouring into our base. And our silo is so, so close. And you just wonder, is it a little too late? Is it just a little too late? Have the North just spent a little bit too much time either defending, either collecting resources, trying to build too fast? There were some power issues in the middle of the game. You wonder if they had resolved, had their research come in a bit quicker. This yellow could have been built a few minutes faster. And those few minutes could have given them that breathing room, that gap, that width of room to work within, that window of time to operate. 350 yellow jugs. Carl goes down. Oh my days, Carl goes down. But they're kiting the bugs. Joshua fighting for his life. Both of these teams are out of the tournament, but they're playing for a bronze medal. And a medal is a medal, regardless. And it shows. It shows they want this. Both teams want this. And I wonder, dude, if this was a behemoth wave, and it slams into power, if this was a behemoth wave, oh, it's not, but they're in? No way, there's no way. Tell me it's not true. Tell me it's not true. Power is getting ravaged. A wave of big and medium bugs have made it into the south space, into the side, creating a hole in the wall. Somebody's seen this, surely. Somebody spotted this. They're going to lose some power, which means their lasers are going to be slightly underpowered. They don't have another power block. Okay, Anti makes it here in time. It seems like the bugs, but if this, guys, if these were behemoths, this would have been trashed in seconds. That's scary. That is so scary because the North have nothing else going on for them. Eventually, their resources will get tapped out. They'll run out of things to use. They've covered. They can get behemoths now. They're at 400%. Sorry, they're at 400 yellow jugs. If they send now, the South are dealing with behemoths right now. Click the button. Send it. Get it gone. 95%. Put behemoths on the table. Let's see them defend, you know? Fight for your life. Go down swinging. I don't know, like, what are they waiting for? The bugs are in. They're on. Eventually, this will be no more. You have one chance to send. It's now. You have a 30-second window to throw some signs, and if you don't, unfortunately, the game might wind down before you get to send it and see the result of that. I know, dude. It's hard. It's so hard. Because you need somebody to kind of, like, make a beeline. A hero play. You need one person to make an absolute hero play and grab that box. And I don't know who it is. I don't know who makes that play. But whoever is potentially resuscitates a breath, a mere fragment of oxygen into the lungs of the win condition that is the North's hopes to get. Joshua making a beeline for the yellow jugs. This is it. An acid cloud hits him. He's moving towards the yellow box. He dives back into the defenses. They're not going for it. They have a win condition here. The reason why I'm getting hype is because if you send it, it doesn't appear immediately, right? So you need to send your jugs now. So the next minute of you defending means that behemoths appear here. So you need to send sooner rather than later, right? Because once they're on top of your silo, it's too late. You have some time now where one of you can just beeline for this, grab this, send it, boom, done. 500 jugs. That's well within the threshold to get behemoths. Joshua, go on, do it, mate. Do it. Oh, I just want to see it flip. We don't see flips like this. This is a rare occurrence. Most teams would have folded by now. 116% on the North. Behemoths are so hard to deal with. You don't have the defenses to deal with this. And there is a box of pure gold. A golden box of 525 yellow jugs sat here that will force the South to defend harder than they have so far. Harder than they have in this entire game. It will test them in areas where they haven't yet to be tested. Oh no, Behemoth. So the shotgun, the combat shotgun, is actually quite good. It is quite good. I don't have time to go in. Oh, come on, boys, get the box. Get the box. They're just here. They're so close. If they run into this and kill this golden box off, I'll be so sad. I will cry for a week. Lads, you've done it. You've survived. You have survived. Go and get your bonus. Go and collect this. Oh, I'm not rooting for the North, but they've done it. Somebody make it down there. Somebody, please, before these behemoths close in on this box. There is one chance. There is one opportunity. You've lined up your sniper shot and you've been shot at the entire game. You've been shelled, artilleried, mortared. People have come at you with flamethrowers, and you have one chance. You have one opportunity. Your base is in tatters. There is nothing here left. It is rubble. There is nothing between you and the silo other than your base. You have to throw now. If you don't, you will always regret it. 585 jug, that's more than enough. Yellow is about to go down as Caliphate goes down. A fraction away from this win condition. Please, somebody throw this. Please, the South will be rocked by that. They will be tested. And if you can sustain like you have done the last 10 minutes now, that 500 jugs could be just about enough. Caliphate sprints back to his yellow build. Is this the moment now? He passes the golden box. I don't think sending's on the cards. I don't think they really... It's not in their brain at the moment. He grabs it. He sends. Oh, 102% on the South. The South now develop behemoth biters on their side of the map. The question now is, can the North hold out? It's a little too late, isn't it? It's a little too late. The behemoths have arrived. They're at the silo, and they can tear this wall down very fast. Have we missed our window of opportunity? Is it a little too late? I think it has. I think we held. I think we held a little too long. We could have maybe potentially sent a little bit earlier, 2-3 minutes ago. We've been defending for our lives for a while now. Over 10 minutes. Over 10. And we rebuilt yellow. That was great. But lads, this is nightmare fuel. Just as behemoths arrive for the South, the silo of the North is under threat. And the bugs have yet to lock into the silo, but it's just here, and they will. They're just going to eat what they want, have their feed. Oh, this is honestly, it's a really good job they put some concrete around here. It's kind of shifted the bugs' viewpoint. Rather than having an open silo, all you can do now is respawn and run at them. As more waves pour in, oh my god, this is absolutely nail-biting. I don't want to take my eyes off this, even though I want to have a look at the South. Joshua comes in, a couple of slowdown grenades, a little bit of fire. These are bosses. They will take a while to kill, and the silo's taking damage. It's ticking down. It was all for nothing. It was all for nothing. Oh, what a wounder. What a great game, but what a wounder. What a tragic last couple of minutes the North had just now. As the silo explodes, we type in GG, but what could have been? What could have been? Oh, my God. You're right. You're right. Rebuild yellow to not send. It was like teasing us. They were basically teasing us. That was one hell. That honestly was one hell of a third place game. And thank you for the bits, mate. That was... Oh, I'm emotional having watched that. I felt like I was in that game. Let's take a quick look at the South, because they were there. The behemoths were here. Imagine 2 minutes ago. You know, you could have held it 2-3 minutes ago, right? Okay, they're not 100%. They'd be like 98, 97%. But the behemoths would be here, and they would be charging through. Behemoths on the side, behemoths on the front, behemoths to the edges. Oh my god, what a great game.